Hi, my name is Hannah Colley, and our assignment for Project 1 was to create an app with a calculator in it for either a profession or an activity. So I decided to create one for a tip calculator for when people are at restaurants. Here's my contents page. Goes to the introduction, and I researched existing calculators and other tech interfaces. These go through my brainstorming and my word lists and my target audience. And created some scenarios for people to test. A couple of my sketches for this simple calculator that I was going to create. I did a lot of user testing throughout this process. This was probably where most of my focus lied. As I made changes throughout my project, I would have somebody test, and I frequently changed it up so that I could try to get the biggest audience that I could and get the most feedback and try to incorporate all of that into my design and my interface and the user experience, making it better. Here are my wireframes. A couple of things have changed. Let's see. So this is my first user testing, and I originally had everything just on 2 screens, and this welcome screen included a button. It wasn't a loading screen. And I hadn't yet created any sort of a logo or anything. I had an idea that I wanted it up here, but hadn't created it yet. And ended up putting everything into boxes, and then you just basically scroll down. But I had 3 options: one to enter the bill amount, the satisfaction level, and split between a certain number of people. Each were slider bars, and that didn't go as well as I had planned. I received feedback from somebody that sliders would be good, and then others preferred an input box. So overall, I decided to put an input box, and from the input box, a calculator came up, and as you can see, you kind of had to scroll to get to the 0 or the clear button. So there were some factors that I definitely needed to go back through and make sure everything was fitting onto the screen well. So I continued to test, and this is a follow-up screen from the previous. I received a lot of critiques. A couple that color just wasn't quite bright enough and just seemed a little bit dull. A critique that I didn't necessarily need a starter page, but maybe just a loading page and then it pops to the screen. Make the calculator full right here, full screen. Have the tip pop up with the total amount and have that just, pop up without having to click a button, but make it an option to split the check because not everybody wants to split the check. So I was forcing people to enter that on the original screen. And so then this part right here is where they can split the check. So as you can tell, I definitely went into each of the little details to really try to make sure that everything coordinated well. And this slider for satisfaction level was a bit tricky for people, but as I added the little percentage right here, it kind of clicked that, okay, the worse service, the percentage goes down. The better the service, the percentage goes up. Here is my final refinements. And I do have a loading page, and it does show up on the prototype, and you can click it, and it just goes straight to this. It would originally just be, if it was produced, it would just be a loading page, and it would automatically go to this. And I ended up changing the background for a little more movement, and also adding in some brighter colors, and the color scheme kind of flows together a little bit better. And this is my mock-up. I learned a lot from this project. The biggest thing that I learned was to test. if if your design doesn't fully solve a problem, then you have a bigger problem on your hands and you haven't designed well at all. And so that was the biggest thing for me, to keep going back and saying, okay, how does this work now? How does this work now? And tell me your opinion on this. And is it easy? Does it flow? And whatnot. So I really enjoyed it and I loved this project. Thanks so much for the opportunity.